Are you racing Ironman Austria or Klagenfurt this year? If so, this is the video for you because in it I'm going to go through the swim, bike, run, T1 and T2 elements of the course to give you the best chance to have the best race experience. But who am I? I am Stephen Moody. I'm an Ironman U certified coach. I've also raced Austria back in 2018 and I've literally got hundreds of athletes to the start line of Klagenfurt and to the finish line. So I want to share that experience with you and help you get set up for a perfect race day experience. So let's get to it. We will cover the swim course and some, as I said, specific training tips I'd like to recommend. Bike course, again, training, run course, and more tips, and some key other things you should know in terms of logistics, nutrition, race date, venues, etc. Okay, so Ironman is all about knowing your course, so there's no big surprise on the day, and this is what we're going to go through today. This is just to get your juices flowing. This is the canal part or the finish part of the Klagenfurt swim. This, when you come in here, you're in the home stretch, but it's also a brilliant part because you can see loads of spectators along the route. It is a fabulous course and something I will definitely go back and race at some point. This is the swim start. As you can see here, this is where you will be lined up in pens. I'll talk about that in a second. And this is where you start off on your day of what will be an epic race experience. Okay, so here is the swim course. As I said, you start here and you will start off in swim pens. And for those who are new to Ironman racing, it's what they practice what's called a rolling swim start. So you no longer have this mass swim starts where you all just bail in thousands of athletes all at once. What you do is you line yourself up in the terms of what your expected swim finish time will be. Um, some key things about Klagenfurt, by the way, it can be a non-wetsuit swim, so therefore prepare for the fact. I know for a fact in the last 6 years, there's been 2 years where it has been the temperature has been warm enough that wetsuits are prohibited. So we'll talk about the one that and some of the training tips that I will give you to make sure you're prepared if that eventuality comes to fruition. The other tip about the swim start is I said you will need to seed yourself accordingly. Again, back to this rolling swim start concept where you line yourself up in pens based on your swim time. And please do this correctly because there's no point in actually getting yourself in putting yourself in a pen that's too fast to swim for yourself because all that will happen is you get in the way of the stronger swimmers and they swim over you. If you put yourself in the right pen, you will find yourself in the swimmers of roughly the same level and you'll be able to draft, which is key for Ironman distance. So what do the pens look like? So if you're a super fast swimmer, you're under an hour. The rest of us non-fish people will be in kind of the 70-minute, 75-minute, 80, etc., all the way to over an hour 40. So that's where you'll go in, and they'll let the stronger swimmers in first, and then they'll roll everybody in. And how the swim start works is there'll be four gates manned by volunteers. So every 10 seconds, you'll stand at the gate, the volunteers have their arms out, and then when it's time for you to go, a beep will go, they'll lift up their arms, and then four swimmers will go in at a time. And that's how they control the entry into the water. Key thing is your swim time only starts when you cross the mat. So again, so there's no benefit of putting yourself in here. You're not serving yourself a cut off. You're just making a mess of your day by putting yourself in the wrong place. Um, the other things to note from this year that you get a chance to do a swim warm up here. Not that side, that's the pros, but do take advantage of that before getting into pen. It'll get you used to the water temperature, etc. Okay, back to the actual swim course. Um, it's a kind of horseshoe shape, but then with the canal kind of twist at the end. This is around 1,250 meters up, and then like 400 across, 1,000 down. And then the canal part, which is a little bit cramped, but it's kind of cool because you get lots of draft because there's lots of swimmers around. Um, Advice is stick tight to the boys, as in it's what you don't want to do is sort of drift into this area of the lake. The lake water is beautiful, by the way, absolutely pristine clear, but it's easy to drift off. So sticking close to the buoys on your left-hand side will keep you kind of on track, and you don't want to add on any extra distance. 3.8K is enough for anyone. Um, you'll turn here and head back. In terms of the sighting points, as in sighting is where we actually lift our head up kind of every 6 to 9 strokes, depending on your pattern. And you're looking at something ahead of you to make sure you're going in a straight line and not doing our, as I said, our disaster moment where you go too far up or you go too far into the middle of the lake. And there's not a huge amount of sighting points, but that's why it's great that there's all the big yellow buoys and the big red buoys at which are the turning points. So use them. There is, when we're turning around here, there's kind of a big house that you can aim for. And I'll show you that when we talk about sighting points. So first sighting suggestion, as I said, just aim, keep the buoys on your left and aim for the turning buoy at the end. There will be people ahead of you. Then across, again, the other big red turning buoy. And then, as I said, there's the house here. It's a white house with kind of a big orange roof. It's an easy one to make, and that means you're heading towards the canal entrance. Canal entrance, as I said, it is kind of a little bit more cramped after being in the vast expanses of the lake. Key is try to stay in the middle because towards the end, at the side, there are kind of reeds and all the rest that can get in the way of a stroke. But it's also, it gets a little bit shallower compared to what you've been swimming in. You will end up swimming to this point here. You go under a little bridge, and it's a great kind of spectator spot, and also lots of noise. You'll turn and you'll come up here, where you'll come up a ramp. I'll show you a picture of that now. And then we'll run into transition, which we'll talk about. Some advice if you're a first Ironman swim: draft as much as possible. Drafting is illegal on the bike. Absolutely encouraged on the swim, where you get behind someone and you allow them break the water a little bit in terms of staying on the feet, staying their hip. It saves energy, which is key when you've got a 180K bike and a marathon to run afterwards. So do that. A little tip here to avoid jelly legs, where people they hop out and they and the ramp, you'll kind of push yourself up. There will be volunteers that will help you up, but if you come up too quick, all the blood drains after being horizontal for a line to a vertical, and you get all dizzy, and you'll see people. I actually have got a shot of someone actually falling over, which is brilliant. But if you kick your legs a little bit more aggressively in when you see this turning point, just start kicking a little bit more. It helps the blood flow around the legs, and it helps avoid the jelly legs when we get there. So that is your swim course. As I said, the water's pristine. It is a beautiful swim. I think it wins swim of the year kind of most years for the European races. Absolutely brilliant. You'll love this. Um, Training prep wise, what I would recommend, it's lake. It's different to the sea. You don't have as much salt and that added buoyancy that the salt water gives you. You don't have to deal with waves, etc. But the temperature can be a bit cold. So do practice in lakes if you can. And as I said, it has been a non-wetsuit swim for a couple of years. So this is a session I will prescribe to my one-to-one guys. And while it's a bit of a mind melt, it's really good in terms of confidence building. I get them to go into the pool with a pull buoy and swim 3.8K swim. And like now, it's going to take you a good while. Like it can take guys up to 90 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, etc. But it's just that kind of mental confidence that you can continue for that amount of time. I know, yes, the pull buoy is a little bit of an artificial boost because it takes out the need to kick that much, but it just goes, you can keep the arms moving, turning, and you can cover the distance in a safe pool environment. And you go, if they turn around and do announce it's a non-wetsuit swim, you go, no problem. I've done this to swim without a wetsuit. I've done this in a pool without a wetsuit. I'm golden. It's a really key session, but also build up to that. Was it 150K, sorry, 150 meters, 2K, 2.5K, 3K with that sort of session. It's really good for strength, and it's really good for mental toughening for what is a long swim. Okie doke. All right. So cut-off time for the swim is 2 hours and 20 minutes. Again, I have to emphasize the fact your time only starts when you cross the mat. So don't panic. As I said, don't put yourself in the wrong pen. It does cause a lot of consternation for other people and yourself. This is the swim exit. As I said, as you can see, you come up. This is obviously a non-wetsuit swim here. You come up and have this ramp. You have the catchers will come out. For those Americans who do not have, even if it's wetsuits, we do not have wetsuit strippers in European races, so you have to get your wetsuit off. I'm presuming this guy didn't kick his legs enough, as he had a little bit, got a bit jelly-legged and fell over at the top. But again, kick your legs a bit more. And then we're on our way into transition. Okay, so transition it is a single transition, so therefore it's logistically easier than something like a Roth, and which is you can just drop everything off in one place. It's a medium run up. It's around 500 meters from the swim exit to the actual the car park where they have transition. So it's not as bad as a Mallorca or in Italy, etc. You're running for like a kilometer, etc. It's Ironman specific transition rules, and this means if you they have instead of if you've only done previous they haven't done branded races, they can have you cannot have everything beside your bike in terms of transition. You have to use their bag system, which is for when you're coming from the swim to the bike. It's a blue bag, which you will have to pick up and you will put your wetsuit into, and you'll take out your helmet and your bike shoes, etc. And I'll talk a little bit about that now. The transition bags a little bit, people panic a little bit about it because it's something unusual, but I have a little video in the below what shows you how it works, what you need to put in the blue bag, what you need to put in the red bag, what you need to put in your after clothes bag, and personal needs if you so desire to use it. That video will take you through all that. But for the moment, all you need to remember for this, when you're coming into transition, you will pick up your blue bag. You will have come from the swim exit here, and you run through here into the transition park. They have racks with the transition bags, which you will have put the night before. And then you will look for your blue bag, which is numbered and ordered by number, and get a change. This is what the racks look like. Hop on the bike. This is where the racks are all lined up, and out to the bike exit. Bike exit here. Transition is quite smooth and equalized, so don't sweat if you're whatever number you are. But then you're onto the bike course, which is an absolutely epic course. So, one final thing as well, a tip is, again, do not do anything daft when you're coming out of transition one. A lot of people try to do flying mounts, or they just, when they run across the mount line, that's the line that's marked on the ground, if you have to get past this before you get onto your bike, or else you will actually get a penalty, 30 seconds typically. But so what I recommend is you run a good bit past, because what happens here is this guy, poor guy here, everyone just gets across the mountain line to try to hop on. If every couple of hundred people do that all the time, you're going to have a bit of carnage. Run a good bit further past it, because then you have a bit of space, and it's really not going to cost you that much time. If you're going to lose 5-6 seconds, but you're going to have an easier mount on the bike, and you're going to be on the bike for a good amount of time. So this poor guy had a bit of a spill. Hope it all worked out for him, and this guy got in the way, etc. So take your time. Transitions with Ironman, and there's some tips on how to transition in the comments below. Take your time. It's not going to, a bad transition is not going to ruin your race, but a really bad transition could make an absolute mess of it in terms of if you forget your nutrition, if you get you get your bike, forget your bike computer. So taking your time to a transition is a top tip for Ironman transitions. Okay, so while we're at it, I hope you're enjoying this the video. I do have a polite ask. If you are enjoying it, I please ask you to hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps my channel. I want to get to reach as many other cool athletes like yourself. I do other videos on training reviews, other course reviews, training tips, equipment reviews, and generally how to be a better triathlete. So please, while we're watching, won't take a second, hit that subscribe button, and it really will help my channel. Okay, but you're now interested in the bike course, and no bother. This is your Klagenfurt, Austria bike course, and it is a gem. It's not as fast as like some of the other courses in terms of a Barcelona, or even in Italy as well, because it's lumpy, but there's some really good parts to it and some key things to note. It is a 2-loop course, so you repeat this 90k loop twice. The road surfaces are lovely. They're very smooth, very European. So that's why it lends to relatively fast bike splits. But there are climbs, as you can see here. There's this drag here between 20 and 40k. There's this brute here at around the kind of 63 mark. But again, as you can see, there's lots of really nice descents. And the good news with the descents, they're not technical. They're not like a Mallorca where you've switchbacks, etc. They're flat and fast. So take your time up the hills, get into the right cadence, and make sure but also be aware that there'll be lots of bikes on the course because it's a two-loop course and there's around 2,500 cyclists out there. So take your time. It can get a little bit hairy at times, and this is where we will talk about. There is a contraflow area, and there's some tight corners, and as I said, it can get crowded. So just take care. Our contraflow is here between the, what you call it, around the 23k mark or so. Just again, be careful on that. There's a tight turn here at around the 45k mark. There's the next tight turn is then at our kind of, I think that's around 58, and between 70k here, and then up here as well. So these are tight corners. Just take your time. A lot of these you will be coming at either kind of just off descents, which will be, again, you'll be having a good bit of maximum speed. Feather the brakes, make sure you're in control. Listen to the marshals. They will have guys with flags waving down, informing you that the corner is coming. Listen to these guys. They're not out there for a good time. They're out there for you make sure you have a safe time. It is, as I said, what I did wrong, and you can learn from my experiences. The course is stunning, and I said when you get speed up, it's fantastic. And I was flying around the first course, and I just didn't pace myself, and I got excited, and I was just loving life. And then the second loop round, my legs were shot. So do pace yourself, and make sure you keep on top of your nutrition, and just be aware of your numbers, your heart rates, your watts, whatever you're judging your effort by. Training peaks. If you're coming up to your peak load, as in you should at least hit 180k session on its own, and you use that time to just make sure you're able to hold on to time on the aero bars, because there are some flat, fast parts of this course, and you will be able to hold aero, and you'll get a lot of speed that way. But you need to make sure you hit 180k because you're training your mind, you're training your gut, you're training your nutrition strategy as part of that. You definitely need to hit that milestone distance. And as I said, there's climbing in this for this fella and all the rest. Some of this is just a gentle gradient, but again, you should. And then there's these brutes, so you do need to make sure in your long bike sessions that you're covering at least over 1,200 meters worth of climbing, so your legs know what it feels like to have built up that amount of climbing in your legs. And descending practice, again, some people are nervous descenders. Descending practice doesn't mean you have to be hitting maximum velocity on the way down. It means you're descending at a speed that you feel in control and safe with. So you figure that out, and therefore you'll be able to bring that skill set, and you'll have a nice safe day in Klagenfurt. Nail down your nutrition. You should at this stage know what you're going to eat, when you're going to eat, how you're going to eat, as in how you're going to transport, how you're going to get it from your mouth to your gob, how you're going to use the aid stations. I'll talk about where they are now and also what you're going to get at them. But in your long bikes, you need to be practicing this to make sure that you have it really, really pat down. It will be trial and error. And don't get sold by you have to eat this gel or you have to eat this food or that's the marketing guys. Some people just eat certain things and it just works for them. I do have a video in the comments below on how to kind of practice and sort of build out your Ironman nutrition strategy. It's a webinar I did with the guys. Well, a lot of people really, really enjoyed it, so make sure you check it out. Okay, so that is our bike course. Cutoff times, you will now be looking at 10 hours and 20 minutes for your swim, your T1 time, and your bike time. So just bear that in mind if you are close. And again, have that sort of that setup. Again, it's all from when your timing chip, when you passed the mat. So you will be based on your Garmin time that you can sort of make sure that, yep, I'm coming into T2 at around 10 hours on, I'm golden. Okay, so the aid stations, there's one we'll just get this info up here and we'll talk about what's on them. So the aid stations at 8 kilometers, 98 kilometers, 34, 110, 53, 143, 66, 156, 7, la la. Top tip, print this off and stick it on your stem because therefore you don't have to worry about when the next aid station is, because you only have a certain amount of numbers here. But I guarantee you, with race brain, you'll go, oh God, when is the next aid station? You'll be panicking, etc. Don't have it printed on your bike. Make life easier. You can also see that they typically have them at the top of hills, which is essentially The logic there is that you won't be belting at 100 miles an hour because you're actually just top of a hill and it's easier control of speed. This is how an Ironman aid station works, and this is key if you want to avoid getting disqualified. You can only throw rubbish at these points at the aid stations at the start of an aid station, at the end of an aid station. So typically what you should do, you know that your aid station's coming up at 53 kilometers. 52 kilometers, you start draining your water bottle, make sure you've emptied it, pouring it on the back of your head for heat management purposes, making sure you get it on board. And then you have an empty water bottle. So when you come into the trash station, you just chuck that into that area. It's a big area and it's very clearly marked. If you do chuck it anywhere else and a marshal sees you, you're going to DQ'd, and it's a terrible way to waste an Ironman event. Then you will see volunteers all lined up. They typically will have bibs on, water, ESO, and these guys are, by the way, it's the drink of choice is Precision Hydration. That's formally confirmed by Ironman. And there's Morton gels and there's fruits. The volunteers will be standing there and they will have the bottles. They will hold them out like this. And here's some aid station etiquette. When you're cycling in, start shouting to people that you're coming in. Say, listen, don't suddenly pull into an aid station, expect a guy behind you to have known that. Start talking, communicating, and that's key on this bike course. Going to get crowded. I'm going to the bottle. I'm going to the bottle. At least they know when they go, okay, they can go around you. They can slow down. It's usually giving them the forewarning. Next station, the next point is you look at a volunteer and you point and said, you, and then they'll know to hold out the bottle to you. Slow down, feather your brakes, make sure you're coming in control. Grab the bottle and put it into your bottle cage, or if you're going to fill up a front mounting system, fill it up there. Then also remember, shout you're coming out again. By the way, say thank you to the volunteer. Thank you. Is you're coming out again. I'm coming out, because then it's all about making sure people know what you're going to do. So, and allow them to all course correct. So pick up whatever water you have, fruits, etc. And then if you have an empty bottle that maybe you've emptied into a front loading hydration system, then you chuck it at this aid state, at this kind of trash station. Okay. Um, that's what you're going to get. That's the Morton gels, bananas, etc. And that's where your aid stations are. Aid stations can be hairy because there's so many people there, people are dropping bottles, etc. So just be very careful, smooth, controlled. Aid stations are not a time to save time. Just make sure you come in and out safely, taking what you need on board. Okay. Alrighty, what's up next? We're back into transition. As I said, same transition area, but this time we will be looking for our red bag. You will have to rack your bike, by the way, and then it will, as part of your recce the day before, I recommend you walk through where you'll be coming in from the bike entrance, from the bike entry, and figure out where your bike, what route you get to your rack number. All the racks will be numbered. And then how you get to your red bag. Leave your helmet on until you've actually racked your bike, until you've got the red bag. Red bag out with the runners, out with your cap, visor. Do wear something for your head and the rest, because it can get quite hot. I'll talk a bit about heat management for the run as we go along. As I said, and then you're chucking your helmet into the red bag, and then you hand it to a volunteer on the way out. Okay. Again, that video downstairs will cover that. Guys, I hope this is helpful. Again, I know you're subscribed, but then just hit a little like down there, as in because I'm giving some great information. You're going to have a great race day, and it really helps my channel, and I really appreciate it. Okay, onto our run course. The run course is 2 loops, and it's very flat. It's on a bit of a mixed surface, as in there's mainly tarmac, and then there's sort of little bit of dirt road, etc. And it's shaded in parts, because this is key. Because typically Ironman Klagenfurt can get very hot. It was really hot for us on the day, and that's where heat management comes into play. As I said, mainly tarmac, concrete, and then there's some bits of dirt track and all the rest. A little bit on grass, but it's all really nice marked out. Make sure you know your pacing. I'll talk about some suggestions down there. Know what your fueling strategy is and your heat management strategy. I'll talk about that now. it can get very hot in the run. So therefore what you're looking for is to kind of keep your core temperature down. There's a couple of options there. You will have water to kind of take on board, but you can't keep all drinking all water and all ESO just to cool your core temperature because you'll just end up with a big sloshy stomach. So what I recommend is you get each aid station. We never miss an aid station. They're really valuable to us at this point in time. Make sure you get something on board to keep hydrated and then pour water on your head. If they've got ice, put the ice under the hat, put it there. If they've got sponges, put it under your shoulders and press that down later on. It releases a little bit of water into your tri-suit or your kit, and it's really refreshing. Other things you can use are shades, arm coolers, etc., and run into the shade when it's available, just to keep the sun off you. You can get the suntan the day after. This stage is staying out of the heat as much as possible. Fueling, there's buckets of aid stations. There's one every kind of like 2.5 kilometers. And this is my bit of advice to you, as in a lot of people, and you'll see this in my transition tips as well, that a lot of people say bring, gels with you. Well, rubbish. Ironman, you're going to be running max on 2K between an aid station. And this is where you get money back from Ironman because the Morton gels are around like $5, $6 a pop. So I always just fill my boots from the aid station. That means I don't have to carry anything. It means I'm fueling up and I'm actually earning my way back because I will try to eat at least 200 gels. Well, maybe not that many, but I will eat an awful lot of gels on the day. Um, Pacing. Typically, as I said, for this is your first Ironman, the marathon can seem quite daunting. Some people may not have even run a marathon before and just go, wow, it's 42 kilometers. So I said, this is my advice to you. You break it into four chunks, like four 10Ks and a little dog leg at the end, which is going to bring you up to the 42-kilometer mark. The first 10K, which is it's nice and flat. Just think of that as just an easy way into the run. You may feel great because you've got the swim done, the bike done. You were nervous with the swim, and now you're feeling like a rock star. It's great. It's too easy to go off too hard, and then you pay for it later on. You should almost feel like you're completely holding yourself back for the first 10K. Second and third K, then you ease into your real race day strategy that you've done your long runs in, your bricks in, and just try to hold that. And let's be very honest, the last 10K loop, 12K loop is just murder. It's just digging deep. It's where you have to look at your mental side of the game. I talk a little bit about that in a video in the comments below, because that's where you are looking to pull out every trick in the bag, your mantras, your visualization, your dedications, everything to stop you giving up at that point or walking, because it's just really, really tough. There's no the way I've done it. I've 13 Ironman finishes in my bag. The last 10K have never been enjoyable, but just prepare yourself for that, and that will be key. So, as I said, there's where your aid stations are, like buckets of them. So again, fill your boots and never miss an aid station. Water, fuel. Last kind of 2 laps, I tend to take on Coke because it's kind of a bit of a sugary boost. And before I'd start, I like to taking on ESO and water just to keep myself my electrolytes and my hydration up. Oh, there's still more aid stations. Training tips. In your training peak, no, you do not need to run a full marathon in preparation for an Ironman. It can lead to injury and it takes too long to recover afterwards. So my guys will do maximum 28 to 30, possibly 32, depending on the running strength of the athlete in their peak session on a standalone training run. Anything more than that, and you're just risking injury. So because you are getting aerobic benefits from all the biking you're doing, your midweek runs, etc., etc., you do not need to do a full marathon in it. Slightly different to the bike, but that's because there's more impact involved in the running. A key thing for an Ironman prep is that you actually do a lot of midweek bricks, as in they just have to be like short 1K, 2K off like a 60-minute turbo or a 60-minute bike, just getting the muscle memory ready to my legs are spinning at this cadence, and now I'm going to start running at this cadence. The weekend bricks will be slightly longer, but actually surprisingly not that bad. A lot of people talk to me about doing 21K bricks and 28K bricks. I went, no, that's just ridiculous. You'll end up going to injure yourself. I will typically cap my guys long bricks at 7. 8, 9 K, depending on again the strength of the athlete, because you're just trying to avoid injury. But it's more a case of getting from that transition motion from being on the bike to the run. Nail down nutrition. As I said, just know when you're going to eat. Is it going to be every 7 kilometers? Is it going to be every 5 kilometers? Is it going to be every 20 minutes? It's different options, of which I talk about in the video below. So just practice that in your long runs so you know how that's going to work. Cut-off times. Now, swim time, T1, bike time, T2, and run time. You have 17 hours to get it done, which you will. If you've done the training, if you're mentally tough in the day, you'll get it. And this is what, oh, sorry, the aid stations quickly on the run. And there's water, iso drink, cola, gels, bars, fruit. The iso drink is precision hydration again. Again, by the way, trash, just use the trash on course. Do not throw it into the beautiful Austrian countryside. We are guests in that country. Respect that. And you won't get DQ'd. There's toilets as well. You've got precision hydration, cola, salty water, Morton gels, watermelons. These things which you, in the middle of an Ironman, you suddenly realize how tasty these things are because there's something different. The sugary stuff you've been chucking in all day. And it's very welcome. This is what you're coming up to. This is the finish line. It's absolutely epic. I can't guarantee that the likes of Paul K will be bowing down before you, but when I finished, they were actual. Oh, you can see that there were pom pom girls. It is quality. The crowd are absolutely epic. You come and turn around and come up. Make sure you milk this finish line. Don't sprint up it. Don't. Was it a? You've trained for months for this. Make sure you get a good finish line picture. Make sure you high five the crowd. I think I did ask one of the pom pom girls out on the date, but she said no. Maybe I just didn't look my best at the end of, was it an 11-hour Ironman? But that is your finish line. That's what you need to think of, and that's where you'll get to and have an absolute belter of a race day in Austria. Um, it's a fabulous race. I definitely will go back. So other things to bear in mind when you're getting ready for race day, there's loads of things, and I'm not going to go through them all in detail, but I will give you access to all the videos. Nutrition, as I said in the comments below. What the pack, handy downloadable pack checklist in the links below. How to taper and not lose your mind. There's other ones as well. Top last minute tips on how to nail your A race. That's in terms of just even your making sure you've got your logistics tied down, got your bike service, some really key kind of tips in there. And I have another video in there about the mental game that you need to prepare yourself for. So do feast yourself on it. There's lots of knowledge there based on whatever 15 plus years of racing Ironman and also coaching Ironman finishers. I hope you have the race timetable. Again, the registration will open at 12 on Thursday. Make sure you get there, get it early, because otherwise, if you turn up late, everything's gone in the expo and you can be standing around on your feet longer than you want to. There are 2 practice swims. Take advantage of that. There's one on Thursday at 2 p.m. There's one on Friday at 11 a.m. Make sure you take advantage of that, and you'll see how wonderful that water is going to be for you. Race briefings, 9 a.m. on Saturday for English, 10 a.m. for German. They're still good. I know this video will have given you a lot of info, but like I always go to the race briefings in case something changes. Like for the last few, like there was some sort of roadworks or some issue where they had to redirect the course. You need to make sure that you're just there and find out that nothing new has changed in terms of rules leading up. Saturday, the bike and transition bag check-in, you need to put that in the day before. You'll be allocated numbers to go in and all the rest. I tend to actually ignore the numbers and go in late because otherwise my bike was sitting there in transition longer than it needs to be. You will have access to your transition bags and your bike on race morning, so do not leave your bike computer on it. Do not leave food on it because it attracts all sorts of critters. Just rack the bike, make sure it's all in good nick. The gears are working, no problems with the wheel, with tires, etc., etc. And then just recheck your transition bags, etc. on the morning. Race morning, you will access at 5 a.m. early start, but it'll be a long day, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Age group rolling start, 6:40. It's your time to shine. So that's all I'm going to say for the moment, folks. I hope that video was useful. Again, quick polite ask to subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already. Have an absolute belter of a race in Austria. It is one of the best races on the circuits.